On today's Good Eating, the spirit of St. Joseph lives on this week all over Chicagoland, and this Italian saint has inspired more than a few feasts in his memory. We'll meet a woman who prepares thousands of meals in a North Lake retirement home. Then Rayanne makes a traditional Italian meal for St. Joseph's Day, fried cod with a tomato olive sauce. We'll find out why there's a lot more to Irish whiskey than just as an additive to coffee and whipped cream. William Rice's Wine of the Week pick features a Cabernet Merlot blend from Southern Australia. Plus, Chief eats in Lincoln Square for some tasty pub grub at the Wild Goose Bar and Grill.
It's the flavorful favorite that has been recognized as one of the best local cooking shows in the country and the cable companion to the Chicago Tribune's food section. This is CLTV's Good Eating.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the show this weekend. I'm Steve Dolinsky. Most of what you see on today's show is going to be found in the March 14th issue of the newspaper. Well, St. Joseph's Day officially begins on March 19th, but many organizations around Chicagoland are throwing feasts and celebrations beginning on the 11th. Well, this traditional feast table celebrates the memory of Italy's patron saint with lots of food, lots of dessert, and lots of fond memories.
These are made with real love. You can't find that at the grocery store.
There has to be a lot of love involved when you're cooking for 3,000. These committed cooks have been preparing their annual St. Joseph's Day feast the past 11 years from the Villa Scalabrini Assisted Living Retirement Community in North Lake. The annual feast is open to the public, and while donations are accepted, there's no admission charge.
The tradition began centuries ago in Sicily when there was a major drought and people could not feed their families. They had no food. And they began praying to St. Joseph because he is the provider of the Holy Family. People look to him for favors in that respect. And of course, St. Joseph never fails. He comes through. They receive their rain, and they started by baking breads and passing out to the needy. And as they prospered, more breads for the needy. And then when people came to this country, it was brought here. And of course, we've changed the tradition to a little more on the commercial side, whereas we feed thousands of people.
Scalera is now 65 and with the help of several volunteers has managed to put on feast tables for more than 30 years. Like her grandmother and mother before her, she has spent the past month supervising the preparation of dozens of breads and hundreds of pounds of fish. This is, after all, still Lent.
No meat. This is meatless primarily because it was in Lent, and also because even though they were a little more well-to-do in the community, they still could not afford meat. But we do serve fish.
One of the hallmarks of the St. Joseph's Day celebration is dessert. It can come in many forms. In some cases, devotions to the saint that come in the form of Frango mint towers or in the form of tiny, deep-fried and sugar-dusted treats known as crustilles.
You can go ahead with something like 3 eggs and get a whole bushel basket filled with crustals. So obviously, to feed 3,000 people, we look for things that are traditional, but yet you get a lot out of a recipe.
Breads can also take many forms for a St. Joseph's feast table, often adorned with colorful ribbons. Scalera says each of them has a symbolic reference to the story of St. Joseph, the patron saint of Sicily.
This represents the bread that we will be serving, and this is the crown of thorns for the Jesus. This is St. Joseph's staff and the cross that Jesus bears.
Scalera and her husband have been doing the feast table since the mid-1960s. They started in Melrose Park, where they attracted more than 12,000 people. Then, after 10 years at home, they started up again on a smaller scale at Villa Scalabrini, where many of the volunteers are residents themselves. On the feast day, it will take about 90 volunteers to cook and keep the tables stocked. Scalera says it all manages to go smoothly, though. Perhaps it's St. Joseph who lifts the burden.
We will stop when the people stop coming.
Now, if you're watching the show on Sunday the 11th, you still have time to check out that feast at Villa Scalabrini. You can call them at 708-562-5530. The feast is going on all day on the 11th. If you're watching the show on the 17th, then you've got to pick up this week's Good Eating section to get more information about feasts around town. Well, coming up next on the show, Rayanne Sarazin is in the test kitchen, working on a traditional St. Joseph's main dish, fried cod. Then later in the show, William Rice's Wine of the Week pick from Australia. The Good Eating staff taste tests some instant mashed potatoes for a potential St. Patrick's Day meal. And speaking of all things Irish, Irish whiskey has gone way beyond coffee and whipped cream. We'll talk to an Irishman who knows his whiskey, and we'll tell you where you can try some too, so don't go away.
Good eating is brought to you by Jewel Foods. Down every aisle, everywhere you look, you'll find the widest variety of values fresh to your family from Jewel.
In the life of everything you love to eat, there's one fleeting instant of pure freshness. It's our pleasure to bring you those moments of pure freshness every day. Fresh to your family from Jewel.
For over 100 years, Jewel Osco has served Chicago. Throughout those years, the people of Jewel Osco have made it a goal to give back to those in need. Through programs like Help Jewel Osco End Hunger, you help Jewel Osco reach that goal. Based on your purchases, Jewel Osco will donate up to $30,000 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. 10 cents will be donated from the purchase of specially marked grocery items like Tide, Bounce, Downy, Cascade, and Dawn. Look for the Greater Chicago Food Depository logo to identify these special items. In order to show their appreciation, Jewel Osco is providing you with the chance to win a new KDA kitchen by Marilat. KDA's professionals will design your dream kitchen, featuring cabinets by Marilat and KitchenAid appliances from ABT Television and Appliances in Morton Grove. Jewel Osco makes serving you and your community a priority. See in-store display or Jewel Spotlight for rules and entry forms. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
There are all kinds of interesting ways to manage your heating costs this winter. A less bulky alternative is calling 1-800-537-5724 or visiting nicor.com to find out about our free energy savings brochure. For every request, we'll make a $1 donation to our sharing fund, and you'll discover practical tips to reduce heating cost, plus comfortable ways to reduce the layered look. Call or log on today to learn more.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, since we're celebrating St. Joseph's Day around Chicagoland this week, and the holiday is traditionally celebrated by Italians, we thought we should definitely have a recipe that was Italian in origin. So this week's recipe, and because we're still in Lent, has to be non-meat, is a fried cod recipe with a great tomato olive sauce. Here's Rayanne Sarrazin with this week's recipe.
In celebration of the St. Joseph's Day feast, today I'm going to show you how to make fried cod with the tomato olive sauce. And to start, we're going to make the batter for the fish, and I have some eggs here that you just want to whip with a little bit of the, or actually beat with some of the water. You're going to add the flour and just whisk until it's combined. And like with a lot of different fish, you can just use a bread coating or even just a plain flour coating, but this batter coating is going to add a really nice crisp outer coating to our cod. And then I'm just going to stir in some olive oil, and we're going to let this batter rest for about 30 minutes just to let the gluten in the flour relax. And the reason why you really want to do that is that when you fry the fish, you don't want the batter to start pulling up around the fish, so leaving any fish to be exposed. And in the meantime, I have my onions here that are softened, and I'm making the tomato olive sauce. And I'm going to add some whole canned tomatoes and a little bit of wine. We're going to heat this to a boil. But in the meantime, we want to just sort of chop up the tomatoes, which you can do beforehand with your hands or just do it with a wooden spoon. Let me turn the heat up. We'll cook this for 20 minutes until the sauce reduces slightly. I'm going to add some flavor to the sauce by adding some olives. You can buy olives either with the pits or without, and these green ones actually have the pits in them. And I'm going to show you a quick way or a simple way to take the pits out. you get a small frying pan and you just sort of whack them. And you'll see what's going to happen is that you can just take the pit out quite easily. You can always, if you don't want to dirty this up, since you're going to have to use the knife anyway to chop it, you can always use the backside of a knife, which I'll show you this one as well, and it's sort of the same technique, and the pit comes right out. So we'll just chop the ones that I've taken here, and we'll just add it to the other olives that I'm going to add to our tomato sauce. Our tomato sauce, as you can see, has really reduced down after the 20 minutes. It's nice and thick. And I'm going to add the olives, also some black olives, and some capers, which is going to add a really nice tangy flavor to our sauce, a little bit of garlic powder, and parsley. So we're just going to stir this all together, and that makes our tomato sauce. To deep fry the cod, I have some vegetable oil that I have heated up to 375 degrees. And I have my batter here and some cod, which is just a mild whitefish. If you don't want to use cod, you can use halibut or hake or anything that's a mild whitefish. I'm going to dip it in the batter. And you don't want to do this ahead of time, because if you do it ahead of time, what happens is that the batter just sort of gets kind of gummy. And you're just going to throw this in, and you don't want to crowd the pan for two reasons. One of which is you're going to lower the temperature of the oil so much that it's just not going to fry right, and it's also something that it's just best to do a few pieces at once. And what we'll do is just let this fry until it's golden brown, and it'll take about 4 minutes. You'll probably have to turn it once, and we'll then drain it on a paper towel lined plate. After frying the fish, you want to salt it to taste with a little bit of salt. I put the fried cod on the bed of tomato olive sauce that we made and garnished it with a little bit of parsley. This dish makes a wonderful addition to a St. Joseph's Day table or for anyone observing Lent this time of year. From the Tribune Test Kitchen, I'm Rayanne Sarazin.
And a copy of that fried cod recipe is going to be printed in the March 14th issue of the Good Eating section, which is, of course, on a Wednesday. Now, if you missed the paper this week, a copy is going to be online for exactly 1 week from the 14th until the 21st. You can find it at chicagotribune.com/leisure/goodeating. Just go to the story on St. Joseph's Day, scroll down, and you'll find that cod recipe, again, from March 14th until the 21st. Well, coming up next in this edition of Good Eating, a blind taste test reveals some of the better brands of instant mashed potatoes. Irish whiskey gets a facelift and some new prestige in the form of high-end labels. And later, Cheap Eats in Lincoln Square neighborhood for some elevated bar food at the Wild Goose Bar and Grill on North Lincoln Avenue. Don't go away.
Are you looking to break into the IT field or maybe upgrade your current computer skills? Advanced Computer Technology Training, the nation's leader in network training, will show you how. Get one or all of the hottest Microsoft or Cisco certifications. ACTP's 100% hands-on instructor-led training programs will not only get you certified, but more importantly, give you the skills to succeed in the real world. Act now to increase your income and improve your quality of life by calling toll-free 877-323-ACTT. What are you waiting for? Act now.
For over 100 years, Jewel Osco has served Chicago. Throughout those years, the people of Jewel Osco have made it a goal to give back to those in need. Through programs like Help Jewel Osco End Hunger, you help Jewel Osco reach that goal. Based on your purchases, Jewel Osco will donate up to $30,000 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. 10 cents will be donated from the purchase of specially marked grocery items like Folgers, Jif, Pringles, and Sunny Delight. Look for the Greater Chicago Food Depository logo to identify these special items. In order to show their appreciation, Jewel Osco is providing you with the chance to win a new KDA kitchen by Marilat. KDA's professionals will design your dream kitchen, featuring cabinets by Marilat and KitchenAid appliances from ABT Television and Appliances in Morton Grove. Jewel Osco makes serving you and your community a priority. See in-store display or Jewel Spotlight for rules and entry forms. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Joe's Crab Shack, we must know everything there is to know about shrimp. We've gone shrimp crazy with 10 entrees under $10. There's Joe's Shrimp, fish and shrimp, shrimp scampi, and popcorn shrimp. That's right, we're celebrating our shrimp expertise with 10 mouth-watering shrimp-filled platters. Now that's something to smile about. There's Joe's Shrimp Pasta, Shrimp Combo, and Lemon Pepper Shrimp. So hurry in for Joe's 10 under 10 shrimp specials going on right now. An overabundance of shrimp that's way underpriced, only at Joe's Crab Shack.
It's never been easier in Illinois to speak with friends and neighbors who use text telephones. Reach out with Relay.
Wake up to spring. Begin the new season with a visit to the Chicago Flower and Garden Show. CLTV will immerse you in the sights, colors, and scents of the spectacular show at Navy Pier. Take a guided tour of all the different gardens, gazebos, and greenhouses. It'll be a bloomin' good time, so sit back, relax, and smell the flowers. Watch Chicago's Flower and Garden Show, a CLTV special presentation. Tonight at 5:30.
You're watching Good Eating, the award-winning cable companion to the Chicago Tribune's food section.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. With St. Patrick's Day approaching, thoughts of potatoes, corned beef, and cabbage run everybody's mind. But we thought this year, why not save some time with some instant brand of mashed potatoes? The Good Eating staff recently taste tested about a half dozen brands in a blind tasting. Now, some tended to be gummy and cardboard-like, while others actually came fairly close to the flavor of real potatoes.
And there's a reason why they're popular. They don't come in 5-pound bags. You don't have to peel them, and for that convenience, you're gonna sacrifice a little bit of flavor, and that's one of the things that was toughest we found in all of these was retaining a true mashed potato flavor. All of them, except for one, I believe, had you add milk, water, butter, salt. So a lot of those flavors are in your control, but the potato flavor, that's something you're going to have to sacrifice here.
And coming in third place, Barbara's potatoes, which we found at Whole Foods. In second place, Hungry Jack mashed potatoes. And the winner, Betty Crocker potato buds. You can read more about the tasting in the March 14th issue of the newspaper. And with all the Guinness and Harp that's going to be consumed over the next couple of days for St. Patrick's Day, we thought, why not take a look at Irish whiskey? Now, a lot of people think Irish whiskey is just used to make specialty coffee drinks, but these days, there are lots of high-end brands out on local store shelves. We talked to a local expert this weekend about some of them.
Irish whiskey has taken a long time to get to the popularity that it now has. 100 or more years ago, Irish whiskey was one of the most popular whiskies in the world. But there was a couple of things that made it decline. One was prohibition here in the States, and one was the independence that Ireland gained from England in the early 1920s. Middleton is the cream of the crop. This is the most expensive whiskey on the market. It'll cost you about $100 retail to buy a bottle of this. It comes in a really nice wood case, and each bottle is individually signed by the distiller, Barry Crockett. Next up we have John Powers, which is also known as the Three Swallows. Call it Three Swallows simply because that is the label they have on the neck of the bottle also. That and Jameson, your Bushmills, your Paddy's, your Tullamore Dew would all be more or less in the same playing field regarding taste. 6 or 7 years old, price-wise they would all be the same. Very difficult to tell one from the other. Jameson and Tullamore Dew are a small bit smoother than your Powers, but other than that they're very close, very similar. If you put a glass of Irish whiskey up on the counter and a glass of Scotch whiskey, it would be a lot easier to tell. Sometimes the colour, there wouldn't be a whole difference, but as soon as you would smell it, Scotch whiskey has a very peaty smell, very smoky smell, whereas Irish whiskey doesn't have that. Another difference between the Irish and the Scotch whiskey would be that Irish whiskey is triple distilled and Scotch whiskey is only distilled twice. 10 years ago you maybe had half a dozen Irish bars, now all of a sudden you've got 2 dozen. So people have been exposed to it a lot more. You've got a lot more people there that are pushing this on them. They get a taste for it and realise, hey, this is very good. A lot of the times they were only exposed to Scotch whiskey. Now they realise that Irish whiskey is on the market, it's far superior, it's a great product, and there's a lot of people out there that are hard liquor drinkers.
From Ireland to Australia, this week's wine pick comes in the form of a Cabernet Merlot blend that William Rice says can be had for less than $10.
One of the great tricks in producing inexpensive red wine for a broad public is to get the sweet-bitter contrast right. If made too sweet, the wine develops a jammy taste that is off-putting after only a few sips. If too tannic, the wine will pucker the taste buds and be equally off-putting. But when a winemaker as talented as Australia's Philip Shaw of Rosemont Estate tackles the blending of Cabernet and Merlot, even from a vintage as difficult as 2000, he manages to thread the needle and come up with a bright, vivacious wine that combines flavors of cherry and plum. Some alchemy in the winery, which included cold maceration and using 50% whole berries in the fermentation, helped cut tannin levels and produce a soft, early drinking wine that sells for a suggested retail of only $7.99. This Rosemont Estate 2000 Cabernet Merlot will prove a fine companion to steak or a hamburger, lasagna or pasta with meat sauce, lamb or veal chops. For good eating and drinking, this is William Rice.
For more than 25 years, Supreme Lobster has been supplying the nation's finest restaurants with the highest quality fresh and frozen seafood. And that same quality seafood is available to you. Let Supreme Lobster liven up your Lenten meals with the freshest, most flavorful seafood available. Supreme travels the world to bring you the largest variety of fresh and frozen seafood. During this Lenten season, shop where the chefs shop. Supreme Lobster and Seafood. We go to great depths for you.
There's only one place to go in Chicago for homemade European breads, Wally's Market. Wally's bakes its bread fresh every day in the rich tradition of old world bakeries. The full-service bakery has more than a dozen mouth-watering breads from which to choose. Wally's is also a full-line supermarket specializing in European foods, including homemade smoked sausages, kielbasa, and other meats. Visit Wally's at 3256 North Milwaukee Avenue or at 6601 West Irving Park Road. Wally's Market, the best European foods in Chicago.
If you're thinking of having a baby soon, stop smoking, drinking, or taking drugs. Your future baby is depending on you. For information, contact the March of Dimes.
Live, to report a story as it happens, not after the fact. Continuous, to stay with the story until you know all the details. Local coverage, to focus your interest on the place you call home. At CLTV News, live, continuous coverage isn't a promo line. It defines what we do every single day. For live, continuous coverage whenever news happens, turn to CLTV, Chicagoland's television.
Welcome back, everybody. This week's Cheap Eats is an unlikely candidate, but it fits the definition to a T. Now, at first glance, you might think it's just a bar, but like many taverns around the city these days, they serve some pretty good food, too.
Taverns like the Wild Goose Bar and Grill usually place the word grill there at the end for a reason. But as we found out, the grub at this joint is surprisingly better than what you'd expect from your neighborhood watering hole. While the original Goose has been in operation for more than a decade, it really came into its own after Giuseppe Saleme took it over about 3 years ago.
We did major work in here to upgrade the entire bar. We didn't want to just be a standard normal bar food.
Appetizers are, by name, fairly commonplace. There's chicken fingers. For $7.25, you get a platter full of Guinness battered chunks. These tender slices of breast meat come with sides of barbecue and honey mustard sauces for dipping. The nachos are $6.50. They're made with homemade chips. They're topped with fresh, albeit the usual suspects of cheese, onions, tomatoes, and peppers, and accompanied by guac and salsa.
We try to keep everything as fresh. We do a lot of food.
There are some real standouts among the entrees. The Tinga chicken tostadas include 3 fried tortillas crowned with a mixture of chicken and chipotle pepper sauce, shredded cabbage, feta cheese, and sour cream for $7.25. The skirt sandwich has Giuseppe's secret house marinade on grilled steak and served with fries and homemade coleslaw for $7. Other options include the half-pound goose burger on a toasted bun with fries and slaw for $6.50, and salads like this mildly appealing brown derby cob for $1 less.
By taking shortcuts, by using different type of food, frozen food, and not making your own, there's huge difference. We've been successful and we've been busy since we opened because basically we use fresh food all the time. We do a lot of preparation. We do our own seasoning, and that takes a lot of time. And I think people will appreciate to come over and have a good dinner and not be so expensive.
Out of a possible 4, the Chicago Tribune gives Wild Goose Bar and Grill 2 forks. You can find it at 4265 North Lincoln Avenue in Chicago. Their telephone is 773-281-7112. For Good Eating, I'm Bill Mahler.
And we are out of time, everybody, but join us next Sunday as the Good Eating section unveils a new look and a new weekly column seeking answers to the age-old question, what's for dinner tonight? We'll talk to some cooking pros who'll give us some advice for speeding things up in the kitchen. Rayanne has a quick and easy recipe for turkey chili, plus Cheap Eats and Rolling Meadows for some gumbo and etouffee at the Cajun Kitchen. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'm Steve Dolinsky. Have a great weekend. And until next time, here's wishing you good eating.
These are made with real love. You can't find that at the grocery store.